You have to be very bold and super self-confident to embrace your limits.
Hey everyone, welcome to Retro by ProductMe.
This is Rashmi here, and I'm really happy today to host Natalie Fitak, Head of User Experience and Design at Aster Digital. Specifically, she works on my Aster, and looking forward for this conversation.
Hey everyone, Prerna here. This is our fourth episode of bringing you stories of people who make the product scene in the UAE and make it worth having conversations with. Let's get started with Natalie today. Natalie, what is when somebody asks you who is Natalie, what in two sentences, how would you share that? It can be anything, it doesn't have to be just about work.
Yeah, first of all, hi everyone. Very good morning. It's a great Saturday start for me. If I think who is Natalie, Natalie is someone who wants to bring user values over the business money. I'm partially successful in it. I want to be Natalie is actually a human voice in digital world, in the world where AI takes over. So I want to be sure that those people with their needs, they are seen and they are heard. So that's me.
And how did you get into design, or what was the design? Like, how did you get into the design scene?
Yeah, so I have started my career a long time back. It was, I think, 15 years ago. But I started as a software engineer. So I was in the company. I was a software developer. By that time, it called web developer. Then I slowly moved to the back end and databases. So I became kind of like full stack. When I was working with the other teams, UX and UI wasn't a thing, to be honest. It was just those was just the tables on the UI. It was pretty old-fashioned. 15 years ago, nobody really cared about anything like user experience. And then I've started to learn a little bit how to make it slightly easier to read, to actually scan the tables, scan all the information you need. And maybe there are better ways showing those tables rather than tables, maybe charts, etc. So that was a pretty good start for me to explore the field of the user experience and user interface. And because I was a software engineer, of course, it was very easy for me quickly make things done, meaning implemented. So I wasn't just like some artist who was drawing nice pictures, which could have never been implemented and launched. Right. I had this small power to do it myself and then show that there is another way showing the same things. And this is where I started to be seen as someone who may have like taste on the UI. Like if anyone needs things to become prettier or slightly easier to read, this was me in the company. And yeah. So this is how it all started, and slowly I started to transition more to the UX and UI. Of course, as an engineering resource, I was required still to do my job, but I was trying to get more tasks on the user interface itself and the user experience. This is how my journey started. Then when I switched to another company, I was looking precisely for something related to the user experience and user interface. Started to know more designers like me. By that time, it was either web developers or just the designers in terms of telling you what font to use or which color to use. The industry was shaping and the user experience was just starting to be a thing. And then people around was realizing that this is important. This actually brings you a little bit more value. The tasks on your projects can be performed much easier. And this is when the people who take decisions were actually keen to listen to those who can simplify a few things for them, because everyone around was doing that. Everyone wanted to be up to date. So in user experience, that time it was mostly UI, but then we started to learn about the research, about the personas. Then there was the user-centered design process, design thinking, and all this stuff. Company were very open to invest into those things, having teams of the researchers and user experience designers who may not really be able to draw, but being able to provide user journeys, user flows, etc., and so on and so forth. And then there was a time when everyone could have had a lot of time on the research. But slowly, especially post-COVID times, everyone wants things to be done very fast. We can see the tendency that research itself is not really the thing which can take a long time. So we need to be pretty fast in a decision, in the journeys. We want to go into the details as much as we can, and we're trying to. But sometimes companies, they are not really willing to invest in too much time into the resource because the market is extremely competitive. However, us as a UXer and me particularly, we are all trying our best to keep user needs in mind, best practices, obviously, and have things to be done correctly so everyone can benefit from it, including the business.
That's beautiful. In fact, your, the way you put things, it looks more like a personal investment and personal journey or personal purpose of your life, which is great. Can you like recall any proudest moment you felt as a user experience person?
Oh, this my whole life. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of each and every product I had. Let me just think a little bit about it. Well, all my life I was in health, and this is what makes me proud already. I have tried different industries. Really, I tried. There was a time I was in education. There was one company here in the region. They've been doing a great job in terms of providing academical resources for the researchers, those who are pursuing higher degrees. But to me, it was like, oh, I can't do it. So I am proud of being in healthcare and being a professional who knows healthcare very well from different sides. I had a chance to work in Germany for one company who was gathering the data about the doctors and their achievements, and this was allowing them to create a big network of professionals where they've been able to share different data and knowledge between each other. That was extremely nice. So I cannot imagine myself to be somewhere else. And every project in healthcare is valuable because even here, being in my Aster, we know that we are helping a patient to get the best experience in the shortest and easiest way. And especially now when we are trying to involve a lot of AI to analyze the reports, to analyze the data, to provide you some tips. That's extremely important. And it helps our doctors also to be more equipped with the better tools to make decisions faster, to speed up the whole process. So I think I am proud of being part of this great journey where everyone contribute to a better healthcare.
Yes. It was really fortunate I got to work with you and be with you in the journey, especially during the My Aster times. And something which very intrigued me, okay, and I really want us to discuss that in depth. Many people do not know this about Natalie, but you're colorblind, but you actually give all those colors, all those experiences. So
Yeah.
how is it? How does it work?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it works. So here's the thing. I didn't know I am colorblind till I was I was adult already. I didn't know. I went to do my eye test, and there was this some Japanese test where there were different pictures with the colors, and then there was some number with a certain shade. And I was like, the lady there was showing me those pictures and asking which number is here. I'm like, what do you mean? There's no number. Okay. And what number is there? And I was like, there's nothing. There's no number. And she was like, okay, let's see. Well, this is 26. There is 43. I mean, like, what do you mean 26, 43? I was like, what do you mean 26 and 43? And she was like, are you here alone? And I was, no, I'm here with my husband and my son. And she took that journal to them, and she was pointing to the same pictures, asking my husband, what number is this? And he was like, 26. And this one, 43. And I was like, I mean, what do you mean there's 43? So that was this like wow moment when I realized that I am colorblind for a couple of colors, so I don't really recognize the shades, etc. And I was like, I cannot be colorblind. I've done so many nice designs, and everyone around was really, I mean, they were amazed with the work I've been doing without even knowing that I am colorblind. Anyway, long story short, I started. I stopped really trust myself in terms of colors too much. I started to go with the hash codes and the different combinations, and I started to Google. To be honest, in the beginning, I've been googling colorblind designers. Is this a thing? I mean, am I like? I mean, we in design we have to sometimes design for colorblind people, for people with the weak vision or with the certain different disabilities. So we call it like accessible design. But I couldn't never imagine myself being there. And I've started to look for the people in similar to me. And surprise, surprise, there are designers quite successful in it who are colorblind. I had a little help. I was trying different glasses to help me with the colors. I'm not really sure if they helped me a lot, but what helped me is that many things are subjective when it comes to the colors. That's first of all. There are so many tools which actually can show you the combinations which can be used, especially now. So I didn't really feel a big impact of it, but especially now. So now I do know that there are a lot of things to help me with. What actually bothers that everyone around you who knows about it are making fun of you.
Oh, but at least your application, any colorblind person can use it. So that's a good part. Like proof. It's inclusive.
It is. But yeah.
What is Natalie? What is it? One now, I was also very surprised when Rashmi shared that with me, and it's interesting to know from a very different perspective. Being from a little bit of a design background, how would you motivate, or what advice would you have for someone who is in a little bit of a similar situation, but they're good at what they do, they're good at designing, but then because of the hesitation that they have, this sort of I don't want to, it's not a limitation, but
Mhm.
how would you motivate them to actually go forward? Let's say there's a kid at university who wants to study design, but because of this hesitation that they don't understand colors, or they can't see colors like how the rest of the world would see, how would you motivate that person to move into that space and use it as an advantage or a strength to
Well,
get
yes,
into design?
dance, you have to be very bold and super self-confident to embrace your limits. I would say that to motivate those who may hesitate whether they should go into the design or not, if being blind even puts the question on the table, it means you should not. That's it. I don't think. I mean, if you're trying to question yourself whether you're going to be good because you have XYZ, it means you should not go there.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, here's the thing. We need to do what we really like to do. We go to the companies. Companies are so different, and if you will suffer or if you will question yourself every other day, it means you won't going to do a good job. And if you can do a good job, that's definitely not something you've been dreaming when you were a child. To seek support from the others, that's one thing. But really think, if you're questioning yourself, you need to really think whether it's yours or not. Because
Okay.
even though,
Where it
yeah, sorry, because
sorry,
even
sorry.
different disabilities, I mean, people are amazing. People are capable doing such a great thing without even thinking that are they enough, right? And I mean, being colorblind it's quite a small thing, but we can have an example. So such an amazing people around who do an incredible job without even like having even worse things. So I don't even really know that we need to question ourselves. If there is something that drives you, you should do it no matter what.
Perfect. Wear it like a badge of honor. I think that's how I would probably put it.
Yeah.
I just want to touch up on one aspect. Now, you spoke about how this is based on what you shared earlier. You spoke about how you've been working in the healthcare industry for so many years. How has how has user experience and design changed from your journey? Like how throughout your career, how has it changed over time? I do remember design in healthcare being not so good, and how has the transition been over time? I just want to touch upon that if possible.
Yeah. That's a very good question. Because when I'm going back like 10 years ago, healthcare was awful. It looked so bad. You couldn't have done anything that. I was thinking about those poor employees because by that time I've been doing some designs for B2B, and I was like, how those people are actually handling this? Or I was thinking, okay, if they can do this, they can do everything in this world. So, and the changes to do the changes in healthcare systems, which are very well established. It's so hard because the first time you're trying to show them the different way, they've been like, no, but we've been doing it for 20 years. Of course, you've been doing this for 20 years, but because you didn't know that this can be done slightly easier, right? And the people who were there in the healthcare, that's also a different type of users. These are not, when you're creating something for customers like B2C, you kind of like have an idea what is around, what everyone uses. But when you need to create something for those who's having certain tasks every other day, they used to have a very big, very low, cognitively loaded dashboards and the tables, and they are saying, oh, we've been doing it for 20 years. Why you're telling us this can be done differently? And you have to be very, I wouldn't say polite and nice with them. You just have to, because you want to change it. So you need to make the process very smooth. So you need to be their body, their friend, their psychologist, someone who will actually put the question in a way that the answer which you need, those people will come by themselves. That's how you can have things done. I mean, I was able to make things done back then. With many years later, it became slightly easier. There was the tech was so advanced every other year. There was so many tools. Companies were competing to use them. Then we had a lot of marketing campaigns around different tools, that how it is make your employees' life easier, etc. And then when this big push started and companies started to adopt those tools, which actually went to another, let's say, another way of employees being annoyed because now they had too many tools to use and all of them were super advanced, and it was a very big change. But with the time being, in healthcare, at least, there was a certain standard in terms of the software people use. And UX became so much more mature. We started to gather the feedback, to do the tests, usability testing, A/B testing with the user before launching certain products. So it became much easier. And nowadays, the adoption of the new things in healthcare is also much easier than it was. So I would say it shaped a lot in terms of how would you approach your user and what kind of perception of you your end user has.
It's interesting how from complex screens where you had to learn software to how user experience is making it better for not just the customers but also for the staff. The transition,
Yeah,
you do see a big change in the transition over time in terms of user experience.
absolutely. Because back then you are providing certain solution for the company. Then the company has to establish trainings for your employees to use the tool, and then the supportive video, and then the follow-ups, and then by the end of the month, people are starting to adopt it, and then once they did, they want to use it as long as they can, so they don't need to go through the same processes again. That was a problem a couple of years ago, but now it's definitely much easier. The adoption is much smoother. Those trainings are minimal. Everything is quite intuitive and quite straight to the point, which makes the the users much easier.
And if you see 10 years back, the digital footprint, especially in healthcare, okay, outpatient, everything is very limited, right? People used to prefer to call, and things like that. And as we progressed, as we realized that most of this can be done through a digital interface, which is actually the experience of the physical setup, okay, it became more and more important to solve this. So that also played a huge role in this transition.
Yeah.
Yes. What brought you to UAE? That's of interest.
Yeah, I had a great life back in Germany. I enjoyed every day of that, having my routine. My husband and his work brought me there. So he found some job here. He was actually offered to relocate, and then he went here. Saw how beautiful this country is, how everyone is nice around you. The weather, because he was traveling there, I think in March, so the weather was really great. While in Berlin it was still quite cold, cloudy, etc. And that's what brought me here. For I was like, as everyone here, as many people here, I'll go to UAE for a year or two, and then I'll go back. And then in 8 years, here I am.
We've been here 30 years, so we get you on that.
But
Um,
you maybe didn't have a choice.
how is UX or design different from Berlin to this region? Like I do know I've heard stories where UX is still picking up, or when you came in, let's say 8 years ago, UX wasn't a concept. It's still, I want to say it's still a misunderstood concept, but how different has the concept been between Germany and UAE when you came into?
Well, Germany is, especially Berlin. Berlin is a great hub for different technology, for startup. It's a very dynamic market, and they are inviting professionals from all around the world. They want things to develop very fast, to be on top of the list. And there are so many great professionals out there, and UX market, UX industry was very mature there with all the proper stuff. When I came here, I started to look for some communities, and back then I couldn't find many. There was some was in Abu Dhabi by that time, but I really didn't go. And there was one meetup for UXers many years ago, I think 6 or 7. Speaker was Sudeep Shah. By that time, he was working in Emirates, and I went to this. It was in Astro Labs in Cluster P, and I went there out of curiosity. And when he was telling, showing his story and some examples from his work, I was like, oh, great. I mean, it's so nice to hear that there is a UX, there is a UI, there is some community. Now he does great things with the digital of things. They're great guys putting a lot of effort to make UX a thing, especially the research. So I really appreciate it a lot. But it wasn't really like I think many years ago for many companies, unless you are a big corporate company who actually can make a budget for the UX and UI and may understand what it is and how important it is. But most of the companies, when you were telling you're a UX UI designer, it was mostly about the colors and the pictures and logos and some typography. So this is something you myself should have changed in terms of the perception of user experience down here. I think our area is still not at the level I would like it to be, but it's actually coming there. We are quite close. That's why. But it gave us a lot of possibilities and opportunities to actually bring the things from the place we used to have them.
What is that one thing that you would like to do to help people better understand what is user experience or why user experience is important?
Depends to whom you're explaining it at. So now everyone knows that, okay, apps has to be easy to use, especially down here. We have so many great apps apps on the market, but we also have so many useless. I mean, everyone has to have the app, and nobody really think why do you need to have it at all. But there are probably some check mark that you need to have the app. On the other hand, my challenge is more how to explain stakeholders that you need to invest here, you need to do this. To do that, we have to speak the same language. That's why my area is to actually learn how to be the voice which will be heard, not only because user needs it. I mean, if you come to someone for some investments and you're saying user needs it, that's a great idea. I mean, they will tell, okay, great, put it into the drawer and just forget about it. We will do another things. You need to come with the clear value for them. So it always depends to whom you're going and what are your expectations. That's the challenge, right? Everyone, it's always in the business. There is a saying, you need to have UX designer with you in the room. We need to listen to them. But in the end, we are coming up with those researchers' ideas, and in the end, they say, "Oh, this is so nice, but let's do another thing. Let's do something else important."
I think I have a controversial question. Since you work with Rashmi, who's a product manager,
Yeah.
what is that one thing a product person irritates you the most about? What is that one thing they don't understand? Sorry, I really want to ask. I've always been wanting to ask this question to somebody from the design space because I know when people don't understand design, how irritating it can be, or people don't understand UX, how irritating it can be for a designer.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the problem is because people, they don't know that they don't understand design. People think that they know very well how the things should look like and how should they work. So everyone knows what should be in the app. But if we as a professionals are going to listen to literally each and every one, that would be the problem. Why are we in the field at all? With product managers, yeah, in my life I was working with a lot of product managers, to be honest, really a lot. Rashmi was someone easy to work with, I would say. She had an ideas and she was always trying to justify them, why the certain things to be done. And then she was trying to collaborate with me rather than tell me, these are the things I need in the app. And this is, I think, where what every product manager should do and should learn, how to make this process a collaborative rather than I talk to the business, I know the requirement, this is the feature, and if I were a user, I would like to have it. And this is when that actually builds your attitude towards that person and vice versa. Because there are so many product managers who clearly, I know they've done a great job. I know they talk to the people, they gather all requirements, they have a great document, they put it all in a nice epic and story, and then Natalie came and said, no, we won't do it, or we need to change it. So I think there should be not a really like a friendship, but a collaboration. But everyone has to be involved in the process. Like, guys, listen, we need to do this because of that. Let's take an opinions and come up to something what would work best from different points of view. So working with Rashmi was in a way that she was having her own requirements and data based on what she was actually based on the things she should have done. But then she was coming, Natalie, here's the thing, how can we do it in the best way for the user in terms of the deadlines, etc., and so on. So I think that was a pretty good. So thank you, Rashmi. You've been a really great.
I just got a live endorsement. I'm honored.
Yeah, you've done really well.
Thank you.
So we need more Rashmis. Rashmi, I think you'll have to come up with a template to help
How to be
product managers.
collaborative. I think that's the only thing I'm good at.
How to become better product managers for design. Sorry, how to a guide on. Okay, let's try and put a topic to it. A guide on being a talking to a designer from a lens of a product manager, maybe.
Sounds good. We can think about it.
Have your thing
That's
done without the designer
that's
being annoyed.
Yeah, that's very true because there's always this one thing ever since we've been running ProductMe, we keep noticing is the design doesn't talk to product, product doesn't talk to tech. There's always a clash between departments, and that kind of comes into the picture when a product comes out. There's always a disconnect in terms of the experience that needs to be put out. So that like yes, last night or a couple of days ago, I was part of this demo for a product where the interface looked nice, but when you actually look at the strategy, the back end work or how the product was working, there was some sort of disconnect, or how a salesperson when the business development team was pitching the product, it didn't make sense. It led to a lot of confusion. Here, communication is a very key factor,
It
which
is.
I think sometimes is missing in a lot of the things that is being done, not just in product or tech, but across industries.
Yeah, because people used to work in their voids, and the understanding is why should I ask anyone? I definitely know better what is needed, and then when you connect each piece of the puzzle doesn't create you a great picture. I think communication is super important. Documentation is very important. That's the place where everything can be easily tracked. So I do believe that if we communicate better and we support each other on each and every step of the way, we will get a better outcome in the end.
That's very, very, very true.
Before the COVID, I mean, everyone was sitting in the office, and those people were at the same building, engineers, product people, designers. And whenever the engineers were doing some work, then they called the designer, hey, check, is this something you're expecting me to do? Before the demo, right? And it was saving a lot of time. Then we had a COVID, which shows us, everyone can work from home, we can work from different places. And that actually created a need to be collaborative in a digital way, to use a Miro board, Figma collaborative tools, etc., etc. But even though it went digital, it shouldn't have lost this thing when people were getting on the conversation and showing each other the things on the way before they went too far. Proactive. We need to be more proactive rather than reactive.
I
Very
think
hard
in
to achieve.
healthcare,
But yes, that's when, you get into that cycle. It always is like reactive, and finally, as a team, okay, once we understand each other's space, we became more proactive.
as an industry itself, we need to start becoming proactive, not build a strong foundation and make sure teams work together and move from there. We've touched upon some very important topics, which I think needs a little bit more of a deeper dive. I think we are coming a little closer to our closing. I just have one question. Sorry, from my side, I have one question, and then I think there are a few that we want to cover. From being a UX designer or a UX professional, what is a guide, or what is something that you would tell a product person and other departments to learn a little? I mean, what is that one topic that you would like to cover as a UX person for helping product managers, tech people, stakeholders understand UX better? One. Second is, how would you help them learn about UX and make it a part of their practice, like a daily practice?
The thing what I have noticed with people from product, they always think from the side of the system. So I had a few examples in my life, and there was certain statuses in the system, the different badges for different types of the steps of certain flow. And the product manager was so into it that he wanted to show each and every status to the user. But from the user perspective, it didn't have any value. It didn't have any sense. So what I was telling, although you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the background, user has to see only 1, 3, and 5, which makes sense to him. That's if in the detail. Talking more globally, that's more about I would say pretty very classic standard thing. Think as your user. It might not be like, I mean, it's so standard, it's so vanilla that I really hate to say that, but this is such a true that there's no way to do better rather than if you are your user. If you feel as if you're a user. To do that, the great exercise is to actually try and feel whatever you have. So when we are in healthcare, we work on the My Aster app. What we do the doctor consultation. We do the lab reports. I mean, we literally sacrifice our blood for that. We are ordering from pharmacy. We are actually booking home care services. At that point, we need to forget everything what we've done in that product, and we just need to feel the experience. When it all was abstract, it's very hard to understand that whatever you have there in the system, just because you have it doesn't mean you have all it. Less means more in our end, always. Less is always means more, and you do need to try it yourself. You do need to think not really outside the box. You need to think differently. You need to think from the other side of you. Practice, try your product yourself. Try to think like your user. And there's a very good exercise which my previous manager taught me. He said, before starting anything, give this very fundamental question: do we really need this? And then I could cut half of my task by asking this. I mean, we don't. I mean, sometimes there's such a thing, and you're just running to have this done, implemented, because you have it in your like vision, in your plan, in your feature list. But you need just to stop and think: do I really need this? And then you will start thinking differently. That's very fundamental, but very true.
I think we need a guide for better understanding users, and you've given so many good points which we as regular people need to understand. And I think we need to be we need to be more vocal about it.
Yeah.
And make sure people understand and scream it out of rooftops in this region.
You guys, you've touched upon this product designer related. There's always a third side, which is engineering, and I really to go a little bit back to it from the perspective that we do need a collaboration, but there should be something like trust. Because I often see when the products are starting to some tips or some advices about the user experience, UXers has to be all. First of all, we also sometimes think that we know better, just nobody listen to us, or how to make them listen to us. To be very open to the suggestions from the product, and vice versa. When the product person can hear something what is advised by the designer, but it may not be fully the user experience, but something else. We also need to break that wall that no one is actually trying to touch your job or to touch the things you are good at. It should all come to the outcome we are expecting. If we are all moving towards something be better, then we should do it, no matter what. I mean, so what? Someone's idea was better than yours, and then this is great. And we need to elevate that person. We need to actually cherish those ideas and not really take them personally. So I do believe that we may miss this, especially in the area like this, because everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to put a lot of LinkedIn posts. I have achieved this. I have finished these courses, etc. But I don't want us to lose this humanity, this connection between the people where they gather. Not because they are great minds in the same room, but because they want to achieve something good. They want to collaborate with the efforts they will put into something. They'll get something very useful, and then this is important.
Touched upon one aspect which is very near and dear, which when we started building ProductMe, the community was meant to be mostly for product managers, but it's funny how it became a platform for everyone to be heard. And I think that's the way forward we want ProductMe to move forward. It's not a community just for product managers. It is it is a platform or a voice or a collective for people who want to build better products, be it a designer, be it an engineer, be it a product manager, a tech, even a legal associate.
Aina.
Natalie, I think since we are coming towards the end, right, something I cannot stop myself from asking is that, see, right now, with ChatGPT coming, thanks to the whole LLM effect, everybody envisions to make their life easier by their query in natural language, and be it a graph, be it a visualization, it comes up. I mean, everybody wants to experience now every service through a chat. It is becoming a phenomenon. Do you have like one or two thoughts around this? Like, how will our future product designs look like? Because looks like everybody wants like a natural language experience now. and not click around. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. So first of all, I'll touch upon artificial intelligence being a really good co-pilot for the designers. Because right now it can speed up the work visually in the research. It can create your persona, run the usability testing, just like roughly some first thing and spot those big stones before you went to the smaller details. And I think if you want to be successful, you have to learn. You have to use it as much as you can. You have to actually understand how it works, how to not make those answers from, let's say, ChatGPT too vanilla. Because obviously, I mean, it tries his best to satisfy your prompt, right? So you need to understand that. And once you understand how the answer or how the outcome is built, you're going to be, I mean, your work will be sped up extremely. Now, as for the future design, I truly believe that all those bombarding and cognitively heavy UIs should go to the past more. And I don't even see that people willing to type. They just want to tell few things, few commands, and have things done. And I do believe that in the nearest future, we would be able to have just like a button or two, and then based on our voice command or some quick clicks on the suggestions, we'll get a lot of options from everywhere. People stopped saying that they Googled something, right? People started to say, did you ChatGPT that? Which means it actually takes it to the position of replacement of that thing. So to the position of the global search from different resources. Now I know AI can actually provide you a lot of links to all the resources, validated ones, and then you can work with them. And then it's speeding up a lot of things. And I do believe that less still means more. And with the ChatGPT and AI and different models, we would be able just to tell a few things and then get exactly what we need and shape it to the needs we have. And especially with all those young generations, they're so lazy in actually putting the efforts to list everything. Like they see the form with the 3 fields, they're like, oh my God, why you cannot just put like your phone to your forehead and then done, the job done, and you've got your diploma or whatever on your email with like I mean, you did great. That's it. I mean, we need to move there. We need to move there. We don't have a chance. And then in 10 years, there'll be someone in my position telling, oh, 10 years ago we had apps. You should look at the list and filter it and then find something. And I imagine it like that.
This is beautiful. I think this is where we are going. It looks like people started hating a lot of clicks. This is a recent trend we are seeing. And as a closing statement, right? What would be your one sentence to anybody looking at this or watching our podcast, to your fellow UX designers or product people? Like, what's your one closing statement?
Okay. I shouldn't take a lot of time because the more I try, the worse statement will be. So I'll just do it this way. No matter what, keep going. Keep going no matter what. The curiosity will drive you to anything. Even I was thinking, okay, if I don't have any curiosity, what's then? Then just like lay on the sofa and then keep sitting there.
Beautiful. That's actually beautiful. Curiosity keeps you going and keep going. I'm really honored to have this podcast with you because you were one person which, like, I could always get the vibe that what you're doing is because you believe in it and it's not just a job. That's why all this beautiful insights, how can we improve? What will be the future? There is a natural insights coming into it. It's all from experience. It's all from the love to the field and what you want to do. And I'm really honored to be a part of this journey with you. And thank you so much for giving your time to us. Really honored to have you in Retro by ProductMe. Thank you.
Likewise, guys. Thank you for having me here. When you messaged me, I was like, what would be the better way to have a Saturday morning than sharing the experience? Do I want to go to the beach? No, I want to be on that podcast.
Thank you. We are honored you gave us your Saturday morning for this, and we need many more sessions like these with Natalie and UX and design, and I think we need to have a lot more conversations about all this.
Happy to
Thank you
help
so much.
here and appreciate the work you're doing for us, for designers, for product, for data analytics. I do know how big it is, and do know how much effort it takes. And you keep going, guys. That's a really great job you're doing. So very thankful for that.